Salem's Lot, published in 1975 by horror master Stephen King. The novel tells the tale of a vampire come to a small New England town. But is it one of King's finest works? Or an overrated mess? Let's talk about it. What's up, Internet? My name is Thad Diaz, author of Tampa Heat, a novel about a firefighter PI who stumbles onto a case that goes back 2 decades. I'm a 25-year veteran of the fire service who's turned my part-time gig into a full-time indie writing career. Salem's Lot tells the tale of Ben Mears, a writer with a past who's returned to his hometown to write a horror novel and face down some old demons. You see, Ben had a horrific experience in the tiny village's haunted house, the notorious landmark that still carries the old man Marsden's name. The retired businessman from Boston ended his and his wife's lives in that very home decades ago. Some say he had mob ties. Others say his connections were more sinister. Ben has plans to harness that sinister connection and exorcise some old demons. He wants to stay there while he composes a new book, so he looks into renting the place for a couple of months. But Ben's out of luck. A man named Straker's already bought the old place on behalf of his business partner, a European named Barlow. So, Ben rents a room in town, and he soon strikes up a relationship with a woman named Susan Norton. However, events take a dark turn in this tiny village, churning up more than gossip. Local children start disappearing, others suffer from a mysterious anemia, and Jerusalem's Lot's typical small-town nosiness takes a paranoid turn. People scowl in suspicion at Ben, and they whisper behind his back. But there's another stranger in town, too. A stranger who hides behind a mysterious business partner. A stranger who never comes out in the sunshine. A stranger who resides in the town's oldest evil. As the puzzle pieces come together, Ben and Susan are approached by a schoolteacher named Matt Burke and a youth named Mark Petrie. Both have wild stories, but they paint one horrific picture. An unspeakable evil lives in the Marsden house. However, they'll need help to battle this monster. Enter local parish priest, Father Donald Callahan. But even as this tiny band gathers together, 2 things become crystal clear. They cannot all survive, and there are fates worse than death. So, what did I think? I cut my early teeth on Stephen King, and he's always been hit or miss for me. However, his hits are something to behold, and this one flies out of the park. All King's strengths are on display here. Intricate plotting and fantastic pacing keep the story moving, but it's his lovable, flawed characters who you love to cheer for or against that really stand out here. Everyone in this story, everyone in the whole town, is fleshed out, from main players like Ben and Susan to background players like town gossip Mabel Wirtz and the bully school bus driver Charlie Rhodes. King shapes these characters with the loving skill of a craftsman. They have human wants and desires and relatable motives. No one in this book feels like a stock character. Even Parkins Gillespie, the wizened old constable, isn't the cliche you would expect at first. King weaves a spider web of interconnected stories that is tightly woven with internally consistent characters who advance the plot through their choices and actions. The villains are a real threat, who force our band of heroes into difficult situations, forcing upon them terrible choices. I absolutely love the way Barlow harnesses this town's Peyton Place vibes and small-town rivalries to accomplish his goals. This adds layers of authenticity that enriches the story and paints the antagonist as the viable threat he is, day or night. The only thing I didn't love about this book feels like a nitpick. King tells this tale as a flashback, and while the elements of dramatic irony don't spoil the end, I think the tension would benefit from a blanker page 1 slate. Now, to be fair, I'm no fan of flashbacks as a plot device, at least not on this scale. So, that's more of a personal preference than a flaw within the book. Read Salem's Lot today. Just do it in the daylight.
Well, listen, there's one more thing.
That's all for today. Thanks for joining us. Please leave a like and subscribe. Do you have a question or something you'd like to say? Want to request a book or topic? Leave a comment. You can support this channel by buying one of my books seen here. Happy reading!